Good evening, everyone. This is kind of an impromptu prophetic alert. I have been spending quality time with the Lord today, in and out of the house, taking care of business, and even though there's been a lot happening, I've been able to tune in to the Lord's voice. And I do this for the purpose of, we share prophetic content. And I ask you right now, at the beginning, as soon as you hit the thumbs up button, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, hit the thumbs up button and please share the video. People need to hear this. I think these are, I've heard from the Lord clearly, and these are given to us to pray into them. In fact, I would say the vast majority of prophecy is conditional. Okay, other than, of course, the second coming of Christ, the final judgment, things of that nature. The vast majority of prophecy is conditional, just like Hezekiah was told, get your house in order, you're about to die. Was that a false prophetic word from the great prophet Isaiah? No. But Hezekiah's response, he turned his face to the wall, repented, and God added 15 years to his life. Doesn't make the prophetic word wrong. It makes Hezekiah's response right. Jonah was called to go to Nineveh. He went to Tarsus and went the wrong way, and because he ran from God, he brought storm to everybody else he was on ship with. And they was trying to figure out who was the one that was causing all the trouble for them on their ship, and they figured out it was Jonah. They threw him overboard. He's swallowed by a fish 3 days and 3 nights. He was in the belly of a fish. I can't imagine the conditions, but the Lord there turned his heart to go to Nineveh and preach that they should repent, or in 40 days destruction is coming. Well, by the time the fish threw him up and he got his act together, he went to Nineveh and preached, and that was prolonged off many years. In other words, the prophetic word wasn't wrong, but it was delayed. And I talk about this in my book, Developing Your Prophetic Filter. I don't know if you've read it or purchased it. We have some copies at our church, Friends of the Bridegroom Church, 1180 Garnett Road, Lancaster, South Carolina. We have some copies of it there. If you've never seen or been to our church, that's it. Sundays, 9:45 pre-service prayer. Worship begins at 10:30. But anyways, I talk about this in developing your prophetic filter, meaning how does God speak uniquely to you? You can buy it on Amazon. I encourage you to pick up a copy just for the sake. Jesus said, my sheep know and hear my voice. And in these times of trouble that we're entering into, and a lot of people are saying a lot of different things. It's interesting how that there's a particular passage in the New Testament in St. John chapter 12, where Jesus said, now my soul is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour, but for this purpose I came to this hour. Jesus was saying his soul is troubled because the very purpose that he was born. He said, Father, what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour, but for this purpose I came to this hour. That's talking about the cross. Father, glorify your name. Now listen, then a voice from heaven saying, I have glorified it and will glorify it again. Therefore the people who stood by and heard it said that it had thundered. So some said it thundered. Others said, an angel has spoken to him. Jesus answered and said, the voice did not come because of me, but for your sake. Now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out. John 12, verse 27 through 31. So here you have the same group of people, same location, same setting, and you have three groups who all hear the same voice from heaven, but they didn't hear the same thing. It's kind of like, you can get 10 people to read the same book, and what was your takeaway from the book? And different people to get different takeaways. Same thing with a song, same thing with a movie. But God the Father spoke from heaven. So we have Jesus, which was the correct answer. Jesus said, the voice did not come because of me, but for your sake. Some said it was an angel. It wasn't an angel. It was God the Father. Some said, oh, it's just thunder. They relegated it to just natural causes, weather, natural phenomenon. In other words, they took the supernatural out of it altogether. And so we know and understand that still happens today. And because of the fact, and I know I quote these verses a lot, but I do it intentionally. We know in part, we prophesy in part. The part that we know and the part that we prophesy is the part that we're given, the blueprint from heaven to pray into. Can it be mitigated? Can it be minimized? Can it be stopped? And those things are left up into the hands of, ultimately in the hand of God, and whatever He decides, we accept. For instance, I was told in March of 2024 there was going to be an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. This was before he was reelected president. In June, I was told it again, and I shared it publicly. I said he was going to be wherever the assassination attempt was going to happen. I see him near a car, and that he would be getting in or either getting out. And of course, they got him right off the stage, maybe 5-10 feet from the stage in that black SUV. The iconic picture of him raising his fist as they're putting him in the car. But I believe it was prayer, not because of my words. A lot of people were praying against this. But what if God's people had not prayed? It may not have been a nick of the year. In fact, we may be sitting here on this date right now, on November the 6th, 2025, and the situation be very, very different than it is. So if you will, hit the thumbs up button. It will help us a lot. I want to emphasize the fact that this is a prophetic alert with Chris Reed from Friends of the Bridegroom Church, Friends of the Bridegroom Ministries, and a major prophetic update on November the 6th, 2025. November 6th, 2025. Now, before I go any further, I want to read something to you that I received from the Lord back in 2021, which is going to set us up for, and I time-stamped it and wrote it down so you would be able to see it, that's setting us up for things that we're beginning to see and happen right now. So you'll see the timestamp there. It's 11/25/2021. China's advancement. I believe the Lord showed me this morning clearly an increase of Chinese aggressive advancement to fulfill their end-time role. I think we will see very soon an escalation of their aggression towards Taiwan, even military aggression. I think it will, even in the future, they will advance aggression towards all of Asia and perhaps even into Africa as we see their continued partnership, here it is, with radical Islam. With radical Islam. Marxism and Islam. It will spread even to Africa. He showed me the spirit of Marxism and socialism in America is not completely rooted in Europe, as many think, but the red dragon of the East. I think COVID was the first of their unorthodox aggression against the world to see bigger spending, socialism implemented in nations, more people turning to government, relying on government, shutting down the private sector, and that happened for over a year in many places. It won't be the last unorthodox attack from China. It won't be the last orthodox aggression from them. The Lord said, watch this escalation begin in the South China Sea. and it will be a sign of them trying to enlarge their borders, beginning with Taiwan and Greater Asia. This was the primary spirit warring against Trump in 2020, speaking of the 2020 election. He was the last legitimate opposition to China's advance in aggression militarily and in other ways. President Biden is going to sit idly by and let them advance. They are in his pockets. This is why he gave them Afghanistan, and China helped him steal the election. So you remember in 2021, of course, Joe Biden, in I think it was August, first year of his presidency, stupidly pulled out U.S. military forces quickly, just like that, overnight, out of Afghanistan. And of course that gave Afghanistan, which is an Islamic nation, in fact, immediately the Taliban took over, and they also took billions of dollars of U.S. military equipment, but they're just a hop, skip, and a jump from China. So what I want you to hear clearly is that Marxism and Islam are forming a partnership that has begun, and we saw it begin in real time. I think it really actually took root. It became real, I should say, this week, when New York City, the largest city in the United States of America, voted in a Marxist, a communist really, and he's also a Muslim. Now, it's interesting to me. Share the video if you're watching. Really, I ask you to do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button on the video, whether you're watching on YouTube, watching live, or even if you're watching the replay, hit the thumbs up button. It just helps more people to hear our message. Share it on Facebook as well. If you're watching on Facebook from the Chris Reed public page, or if you're watching from this YouTube channel, please hit subscribe and click the notification bell for more content like this. But the point that I want to make in this prophetic alert is, in the election of Zoran Mondani, we have seen in him, in his person, in his life, a marriage or union or a oneness of Islam and socialism or Marxism. Now, I remember back when I first received this prophetic word, I was confused about, number one, what does Marxism and Islam have to do with each other? I never even in my mind connected. Maybe you did, I'm sure. By the way, I'm sporting my Indiana t-shirt. Go Hoosiers. Our football team is actually undefeated this year. Anyway, you know, I wonder, what in the world, Lord, why would you say to me that COVID, China, of course China is communist, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, why would communism or socialism, for the sake of context, let's keep them the same thing, Marxism, communism. Communism is just an more extreme form of socialism or Marxism, which is bigger government. More government is given more control, more authority, takes more of your tax dollars, and they have more control, and you have less rights, less individual responsibility, less, the rugged individual responsibility. That with that comes freedom. Please share this. Send this. Text this video, click share, and text this to someone. Share it on your social media pages. I promise you that what we're facing in this hour, I saw today this two-headed dragon rise up out of the sea, and the Holy Spirit began to speak to me and say to me clearly that this is the beast of the hour. This beast is going to rotten the Big Apple. This beast, unless prayer changes things, this beast has seeded itself out of the sea, and it has come up into the largest city where Wall Street is, the biggest financial capital city in the world, to hoist the finances and where commerce happens. In fact, the great harlot in Revelation 17 and 18, all nations partook of the wrath of her fornication, and also all nations was a part of the exchange of commerce. Now, I'm not saying that New York City is Babylon the Great, even though I know people, believe it or not, who do believe that and believed it many years ago. I do believe it can be a form of that simply because of the commerce, the selling and buying. But in the context of Revelation 17 and 18, it's important because you never take a text out of a context. If you take a text out of a context, all you're left with is a con. And I talk about this in my book, Developing Your Prophetic Filter. I wrote it in 2024. It came out last year. I encourage you to learn how to hear. How does God speak to you? It can be a prompting, a feeling. It can be through the voice of a child, the words of a song, the words in a movie. And there's so many areas. And of course, as you grow in the Lord and the things of the Spirit, His voice becomes more clear, and His voice makes the difference. He said, "My sheep know and hear my voice." But His voice makes the difference. All I want, the friends of the bridegroom, stand and rejoice to hear the bridegroom's voice. John chapter 3. His voice makes the difference. So before I get into the particular prophecies, and hit the thumbs up button if you haven't yet, please. That's the least you can do. And share the video. YouTube video, Facebook video. Please share it. Subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell. And hit thumbs up. It helps us. I just happened to ask ChatGPT earlier today. I said, why has socialism and Islam come together so well recently? This is ChatGPT's response. That's a thoughtful and nuanced question, and one that's more historical and sociological than theological. While socialism and Islam are distinct systems, one is political, economic, the other is religious. So you got an economic system, or political economic system, and a religious system, which is what is going to empower the one world government, the one world beast, the one world currency. And I'm telling you right now, as I'm speaking to you, the dollar, it is not crumbled. It's not, but it is starting to shake, and it's starting to weaken, and it is going to lead to, whether you want to put it in the context of the book of Revelation or not, a stable universal currency. That is what the globalists are pushing for. So you have an economic and religious system, which, by the way, the beast in the book of Revelation, the religious system, which is known in the book of Revelation for cutting off heads of the opposers. What major world religion still uses beheading? I mean, we've seen it. Remember when ISIS emerged 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was? That's so Islam and socialism coming together. Islam, somebody comment in the comment section, Islam and socialism equals the beast system. Comment that. Socialism and Islam equals the B system. Thank you for commenting that, whether it's on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube. And by the way, I'm just going to jump on there real quick, say hello to those of you that are watching on YouTube live right now. God bless you, Maria, Gunny, Helen, Shelley, Paul, Denise, Revival, Mark, Teresa, Denise, Linda, Denise, Tracy, for Jesus, Raphael, my friend. God bless you, Amy Lynn. I'm going to jump over Facebook just real quick. I'm not going to take a lot of your time tonight. This isn't going to be long, but it is going to be very important. In fact, it may be one of the most important prophetic words that I have given. Just to see those who are watching on the Chris Reed Public page, just to see who's on there, who's watching. God bless you if you are watching. My phone's being slow. Hi Doug, hi LaRue, hi Susan, Cheryl, Jose, Angela, Justin, Carol. God bless you, Chris. Another Carol, Selena, Marcel, Cheryl, Tony, I hope I said that right, Claudia, and Jose. So comment marriage, Islam plus socialism equals the B system. So let's get back quickly to ChatGPT. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're watching on YouTube, let's just all do it now. I'm going to say it because I want more people to hear this. And share the video. I can't, please, if you have confidence in anything I've ever shared. I had somebody come up to me the other day and said, hey, aren't you that guy that, what was Trump's advisors that was also back with Nixon? I can't remember his name, short fella. He said, he's the one that shared your Pam Bondi prophecy about becoming the Attorney General. I can't remember his name for the life of me. And so I thought, well, I guess that stuck in his mind. At least one thing stuck in his mind. But he remembered my name and associated it with that particular prophecy that I had. Roger Stone. Roger Stone shared, the infamous, or famous rather, Roger Stone shared my prophecy about that I gave, I think, in 2018 or 2019 about Pam Bondi becoming the U.S. Attorney General. So he shared that, I think it was last November, whenever it was Trump picked her after he was elected. But let's just hurry on quickly. As you hit the thumbs up button, it is important. It might cause somebody to hear this and cause them to wake up, because we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time. I know there's different beliefs and ideologies on eschatology, but I believe we are in the last days. I believe it with all of my heart. I believe we are close to the coming of the Lord, but a lot of exciting things. It's only ramping up from here. And it's going to get, the light is going to get brighter and the darkness is going to get darker. So here's what Islam and socialism or Marxism, they share certain principles about social justice and economic equality. What are they saying all these elections, these off-year elections that happened this past Tuesday? What were they saying was the affordability crisis? And I get it. Listen, I understand. And there's nothing wrong with making stuff affordable. I'm just saying Islam and socialism both focus on social justice and economic equality, which can make them appear complementary in some context. Here's a balanced breakdown of why they sometimes work well together. Number one, they share an emphasis on economic justice. Islamic economics teaches that wealth is a trust from God and should circulate fairly. Now, you understand what they're saying. In other words, you should be forced to share your wealth, not out of your own generosity. So practices like zakat, mandatory almsgiving, and prohibitions on hoarding or interest, riba, R-E-B-A they call it, promote redistribution of wealth and discourage exploitation. Socialism likewise focuses on reducing wealth inequality and ensuring basic needs for all. Both see care for the poor as a moral duty, not a private choice. Well, it sounds good, almost, doesn't it? It sounds convincing, and I want to tell you, the whole world is not going to marvel at the beast and be seduced to fall down and worship him, when the Bible says literally the whole world will be deceived. And I suppose that's the part of the world that he would have control over. Now, I do want to say this, in the days in which the scripture was written, it says that he would have power over the whole world, speaking of the world to whom, the known world at that time, a revived Holy Roman Empire. I'm going to tell you, this is just what I believe. America was not known of. It was not, North America was not known. So I personally don't believe the Antichrist will rule over the United States of America. Although, depending on who the president it is, we could be beholden to him. Okay? Socialism, number 2 thing. So if you will comment, they share, socialism and Islam share an emphasis on economic justice. Comment that in the comment section if you will. Somebody comment that if you will. Work with me here. Islam and socialism share an emphasis on economic justice. Socialism and Islam share an emphasis on economic justice. Number 2, write this one down also. Put this in the comment section, whether you're watching on YouTube, comment, or you're watching on Facebook. Socialism and Islam, collective responsibility and community. Socialism and Islam promote collective responsibility as opposed to personal responsibility, and community, ummah, as they would refer to it. In Islam, the ummah, community of believers, is meant to function as a single moral body, the strong supporting the weak. Socialism also prioritizes the collective good over individual gain. This creates synergy in cultures where community identity is strong and collective welfare resonates with faith. Have you hit the thumbs up button yet on the video, the YouTube video? Even if you're watching the replay later, hours, days from now, hit that thumbs up button, because this is going to be true for months and years to come. So comment this in the comment section. If you're on Facebook, comment this. Watching the video on Facebook, if you're watching watching me on YouTube, write Islam and socialism promote collective responsibility and community. Number 2, socialism and Islam promote collective responsibility and community. Thank you for commenting that. Thank you to those of you who are commenting that. I appreciate it. It also causes more people to see. Now I'm going to get to the prophecies in just a minute, but I need to lay the groundwork for this. So if you are just coming on, hit the thumbs up button and share this. I'm going to be sharing some prophecies in a few minutes, but I wanted to lay a foundation that was important. Okay? So, number 3. Socialism and Islam Both promote an anti-exploitation ethic. Suppose this is according to ChatGPT, okay? But for those that are listening, those of you that can comment or type fast, if you will, comment that in the comment section on the YouTube video or on Facebook. Socialism and Islam both promote anti-exploitation ethic. Now it sounds good, but let me share how. Remember, not all that glitters is gold. Islam condemns economic oppression, usury, and unjust trade practices. The Quran warns against the rich growing richer at the expense of the poor. Wow, that almost sounds like the Democratic platform. That almost sounds like what's coming out of Hakeem Jeffrey's mouth right now in this shutdown, government shutdown. What are we on, day 37? The second thing that socialism and Islam promote anti-exploitation ethic is socialists frame this as opposition to capitalist exploitation. Now, capitalism isn't perfect. There is no perfect form or economic system, but it is the best one. The free markets and capitalism are the best form of and provide opportunity and have given people an opportunity at the American dream and at the possibility of advancing in life and having nice things and having your own home and having your own vehicle. But socialists frame this as opposite to capitalism. They claim that capitalists exploit the poor. Both Islam and socialism reject unchecked capitalism and favor systems that restrain greed. I'm here to tell you that greed is in all financial brackets. The rich are greedy, the middle class are greedy, and yes, even the poor are greedy. Okay? But we should not hate those who create wealth, because they're often the ones that employ people. You know, the hippie adage used to be, tax the rich to feed the poor, tax the rich till there ain't no more. Anybody ever heard that one? If you have, say, I've heard that one. Comment, I've heard that one. Tax the rich to feed the poor, tax the rich till there ain't no more. Well, if you tax the rich till there ain't no more, then we're all in a mess. Right? Now, of course we believe in giving. We believe in generosity. We do it because it's biblical. We do it because the Holy Spirit and the Word of God tells us that we should, but not at the hands of fallen man government, okay, which promotes taxation, and the more wealth that you accumulate, the higher percentage of wealth that you should of your income you should give away. I personally believe in the flat tax. So whether you, let's just say it's 10%. If you make $50,000 a year, or you make $500,000 a year, or you make $5 million a year, if we all paid 10% of that, if you make $50,000 a year, you're paying $5,000 in taxes. If you make $500,000 a year, you're paying $50,000 in taxes, right? If you make $5 million a year, you're paying $500,000 in taxes for that year. So, yes, even though it's the same taxation rate, the rich are still paying more. Okay? The fourth reason that Islam and socialism go together, post-colonial and political factors. In the 20th century, many Muslim majority nations turned toward socialist-inspired models, such as Nasser's Egypt, the Ba'athist Syria and Iraq, early Algeria after colonial rule. These regimes saw independence from Western capitalism and emphasized self-sufficiency and equality. The language of socialism gave political leaders a secular framework that aligned with Islamic moral teachings about justice. Number 5, I want every person watching to do this. Comment, please. The third way idea. The third way idea. Many Islamic thinkers developed what they call Islamic socialism. A synthesis examples. Muhammad Baqir Assad out of Iraq and Ali Sharatai out of Iran argued that Islam already contains the just principles that socialism seeks, minus atheism and class warfare. These thinkers rejected both capitalist materialism and atheism Marxism, claiming Islam's own middle path, economic equality with spiritual values. Now, both of them tend to lean toward a government, or those who are in power have the ultimate authority and say. In other words, the highest moral superior authority to the Christian is God, not government. Well, the highest moral superior authority to a Muslim is their imam, or to a socialist is to their government, because the government, I think it was Margaret Thatcher who famously said that socialism is great until you run out of spending everybody else's money. Then a society collapses and falls apart. So this two-headed beast in this vision that I saw rise up out of the sea, unfortunately on the East Coast, it's on the West Coast as well, and it's not, I'm in America, of course, so I'm filtering it through an American lens, but it is all over the world. Okay? This is true all over the world. Now, I just want to say a few things that I think are going to, as a result. So here's the prophecies. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button and share it if you haven't. I'm about ready to start. I don't know what minute marker I'm at, but this is when the prophecies begin. We are about to see what we're seeing: the fighting, the bickering, the quarreling, the blaming, the tension at Capitol Hill. The Democrats are blaming the Republicans. Republicans are blaming Democrat over the government shutdown. We're seeing it affect people who receive SNAP benefits, WIC benefits, aren't getting them. They're going to go hungry. Veterans are losing services. Our troops, our police, many government programs, the money is drying up, and it's all simple. Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Senate, many people say, well, if the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House, why can't they fund this thing? And many people are ignorantly, and I say that meaning not in a bad way, but just out of not knowing, they're blaming the Republicans for this because they see the Republicans controlling all three branches of government. Well, but you have to understand that in the Senate, which is the higher chamber in our legislative branch, it requires 60 votes to pass to go to the president to sign it into law. Well, we have 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats. We need about 5 Democrats to vote to fund the same continuing resolution they voted over 10 times. It's the exact same bill. No perks in it for Republicans, no perks in it for Democrats. The same exact bill. Somebody comment in the comment section for me. the same exact bill voted on over 10 times. Both the Democrats and Republicans, they voted a continuing resolution to fund the government through the month of October until the 2/3 way through November. And so now we're almost 40 days with a government shutdown, because even though Republicans are voting yes, open the government, airports, flights are being delayed and canceled. The explosion that we saw in Louisville of the plane the other day, that really caught my eye, because that's only about an hour and a half from where I grew up. On and on we could go, and the thought to me that our troops aren't getting paid, and the president's trying to find ways. The courts are telling the president, you need to, you must jump into the reserves to pay these programs, like the reserves in case we were in war or in case we went into a depression. We're not in a depression. We're not in a war. But Chuck Schumer has become beholden. He's scared because in March, I think it was March of this year, he voted for this same exact continuing resolution. Yeah. What a difference 6 months made. And remember what happened when he did? The left wing of the Democratic Party, which is where the power and the strength is right now, they absolutely torched him. And he is afraid that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to primary him to take his seat as the leader of the Democrats in the Senate. In fact, AOC even said, if you want to negotiate, just come by my office and talk to me. So there is this socialist branch, and it's interesting, isn't it? Ilhan Omar, socialism and Islam. Ilhan Omar, the Minnesota congresswoman, she's a socialist and a Muslim. Now, I know I'm going to get hate mail over this, but I really don't care, because I'm going to push back against the enemies of the cross. If we lose America, it's the last hope of the world for a free and fair and open society. Okay? So the natural world is going to reflect in nature, and the environment is going to reflect what's happening within the hearts of people. We're going to see an increase over the next 6 months or so of earthquakes, floods. Yes, floods. I see floods hitting the streets of London. Floodwaters flooding the streets of London. And I pray for London, God, that you'll protect them. I see earthquakes on the Ring of Fire. I see a major earthquake that is coming to Japan, but also I see a large earthquake that's going to hit the west coast of the United States. Okay, I see a volcanic eruption, a major one, that is literally it's almost going to be like spewing out till it touches the ground and the water, and it comes together, where the earth is literally going to have a temper tantrum. Somebody comment that. That sounds weird. Sounds a little funny, but it's true. Comment, the earth is about to have a temper tantrum. The earth is about to have a temper tantrum. In fact, Romans 8 says the whole creation groans and travails and together until now, waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God, waiting for a company of people to fully reflect Jesus' nature, for Jesus to fully internally subdue them, to bend them, and that the internal kingdom of Christ, that when we hear the word possessed, we don't think of demonic possession, we think of Christ possession. I want to be so possessed by Him that when people look at me, they see Jesus. When people look at you, they see Jesus. And that sanctification keeps working its way out. No, I'm not perfect. I've made my share of mistakes, but I keep repenting. I'm keeping my faith in the object of what Christ did, the finished work. Not of myself. There's none good, no, not one. If you break one commandment of the law, you break them all. So there's no room for finger pointing. If you break one commandment, James said, you break them all. And so I see a major earthquake hitting the west coast of the United States. And as I said last night on the program, I see Europe, especially the UK, having this bizarre banking crisis, housing market crash. I'm sorry to tell you, those of you that are in digital currency, I don't even follow it. I know people are telling me every day I need to do it and get involved in it, and I am foreseeing it sometime down here in just the next bit of time, that it going down, it not coming up. And I wish I could say the opposite. The digital currency upheaval is coming. Somebody comment that. Whether you want it to be true or not, the digital currency upheaval is coming. And I'm not trying to be negative. If you know me at all, you know I don't try to be negative. But I'm sorry, right now, the carnal, Adamic, fallen nature of man, the beastly nature of man, is coming full front view. Okay? Just like Christ wants a people who are fully subdued internally, subjected, possessed by Him, that they sound like Jesus, look like Jesus, talk like Jesus, think like Jesus, see people like Jesus, see people. Not only do they have imputed righteousness by faith, but they also walk out righteousness that is imputed to them by faith, that grace empowers them to walk in righteousness because the object of their faith is Christ and Him crucified. So a West Coast significant major earthquake, a major earthquake in Japan, the flood waters hitting the streets of London. Paris, I see a terrorist attack. Paris on fire. And the strange thing is after I saw the vision of the two-headed dragon, I just started seeing news clips like it was playing out in front of me of what the news in the future, the news in the not too distant future would be playing out. And I saw Paris, and I saw it's slipping my mind, but the famous piece of architecture there in Paris, and I saw flames all around it and down the streets around there. And I'm seeing a real economic. I'm praying, you need to be praying that the Supreme Court rules correctly on the Trump tariff, the presidential powers regarding tariffs. If not, America is going to fall into a recession. I'm telling you, that's thus saith me, not the Lord. But I've got a strong sense, impression that if they strip those powers away or limit His powers on tariffs, which, by the way, those other nations, they've been imposing unfair tariffs on us for years, unfair trade balances for years. And this is why He's used them as emergency powers, because to correct the 4 years of the destructive Biden policies, he had to be able to harness the powers of the presidency to impose tariffs upon nations, especially the nations who were for instance, in Europe, we take all their cars in here in the United States, but go to Germany, go to Switzerland, go to England, go to France. You're not going to see a Ford there. You're not going to see a Chevy there. You're not going to see a Chrysler there. Well, you may now because of the Trump tariffs. But you get the point. It has been an unbalanced trade, all in the name of that socialist thinking. Well, America has a big economy. They should have high tariffs so that the smaller, less fortunate countries should be able to take advantage of them, benefit from America, forgetting that we already send billions of dollars every year to these nations in economic aid, in foreign aid. There is a judgment that I see coming, that God, I can see his anger. I saw the sword of the Spirit cut off both heads of the double-headed dragon of socialism and Islam. And I don't know when that's going to happen. And I know that sometimes visions are metaphorical. Daniel, read the book of Daniel, right? Read the book of Revelation. They were written thousands of years ago, and the events are just happening now. But I saw the sword of the Spirit cut off this double-headed dragon of Islam and socialism, and it fell into the waters. And when it did, it was a tsunami on the East Coast, and a tsunami that went all the way into Japan, and then it went the West Coast. And I saw when it hit that a tsunami hit Indonesia, and that's somehow coming in the near future. Now today is November the 6th, right? November the 6th, 2025. I just want to make sure. If you're watching, if you will, comment the date, November 6th, 2025, just so we can all remember where we are. Share the video. Please, I'm asking you to share the video, because I'm telling you now I'm giving you the heavens blueprint, how to pray, prayer strategy. Okay? We have to see what our enemies are. If you don't know your enemy and you can't identify his tactics, how can you wage warfare effectively if you don't know how socialism and Islam are uniting and marrying? And we saw this just happen in the biggest city in our country, New York City. Zoran Marxist Mamdani is going to become the mayor, and I have no ill hatred towards the man. I don't want to harm or hurt anybody, and I am completely, totally against violence. But I'm telling you something, I will not back up against the enemies of the cross, and I will not stay silent. I will not allow. Yeah, they're trying to divide and conquer. Divide and conquer is a strategy. Getting in pockets, in locations in our nation, whether it be in Minnesota, St. Paul, the Twin Cities, or whether it be in Dearborn, Michigan, or whether it be in New York City. I can't fathom. This is we have entered into unprecedented times. And yes, I understand these elections this past week were in blue states. Virginia's blue. Trump was the closest Republican in 20 years to win the state as a Republican presidential candidate. He lost it still, though, by 5. He lost New Jersey by 3. So even Trump couldn't win Virginia, and Trump couldn't win New Jersey, and he sure didn't win New York City. Okay, of course, most of New York is conservative. God bless them. I'm praying for them. But New York City, what we're seeing is a spirit that has entered in through the end of Wall Street, off the banks of the water. And I see the snake slithering, the dragon slithering. I see it slithering down the streets of New York City, wanting to spread from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast and infect this nation with the brain virus of Islam and socialism. God help us to wake up. We cannot take a softened stance against Islam. I'm here to tell you, Islam does not, if a true practicing Muslim cannot in any way, shape, or form, be in cooperation with the United States Constitution. We are never going to be for Sharia law. What's going to happen in New York City when all these failed promises of free housing, government grocery stores, and the government giving you this free, nothing comes free. Stop falling for that. Well, we're going to give you this if you vote for me. Give you this. I think it was Ben Franklin, one of our founders, who talked about when politicians can promise their constituents that they can basically sell their way into office, that we will lose the republic. And that is exactly what's happening. The leader of the Democratic Party in the House of Representatives endorsed Zoran Mondani, not because he didn't want to do that, but the pressures of the far left. There is an evil. It took a blow in the 2024 election, because here's what happens. Just like in church, we have a great service, we have a great revival, then we go to sleep. We win an election. Look at what happened in 9/11. 9/11 happened, church attendance jumped up for about 2 or 3 weeks. Bible sales jumped 2 or 3 weeks, or a month maybe. When Charlie Kirk was terribly assassinated, Bible sales alone in September was increased 36% month over month. But just like Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, he said clearly, New York, you have forgot what happened 24 years ago. How quickly do we forget after a church service or a revival or a conference or after an election? When it's like we're ready, filled with anticipation and eagerness, and when we have a victory, then we lull ourselves to sleep, a little slumber. Somebody put in the comment section, "Awake, O sleeper." Come on, put it in the comment section. Hit the thumbs up button on the YouTube video, the Facebook video, and share this with someone. Awake, O sleeper. Comment that in the comment section. Awake, O sleeper, and arise. Awake, O sleeper, and arise. Awake, O sleeper, and arise. I cannot say how important what I'm sharing is right now, and I'm going to keep on going. Okay? There's about to become, so many things are going to happen at once that it's going to be like the news cycle. It's going to be hard. Last week's news is going to seem like last year's news. That's how fast the news cycle. What once used to be, wow, that happens about every 2 or 3 months, is now going to be every 2 or 3 days. I saw 2 aircrafts somewhere. I wish I knew where, but we know in part, we see in part. People that believe in prophecy, people that believe in New Covenant modern prophecy, will take the part that you see and the part that you know and pray into it. Pray that it be minimized or mitigated. People that don't believe in New Testament prophecy will take the part that you didn't know and the part that you didn't prophesy to discredit the part that you did know and that you did prophesy. Perfect example of New Testament prophecy is Acts chapter 9. Saul of Tarsus, struck down by the Lord, persecutor of Christians. He's blinded. He loses his natural sight, but for the first time his spiritual eyes are opened. He's blind and he's told to go to Damascus, and in a vision he's shown a man named Ananias coming to pray for him. Then the Lord goes and appears to Ananias. While he's praying, he has a vision. This is New Testament prophecy. While he's praying, he's had a vision. So Saul of Tarsus was on the road to Damascus. He's told once he gets to Damascus, there's going to be a man named Ananias come pray for you. The same voice that spoke out of the light, the pillar of fire, spoke and told him there's a man named Ananias going to come pray for you. In Acts chapter 9, Jesus speaks to Ananias and says, Ananias, arise. Go to Straight Street. So yes, God does give street names in New Covenant prophecy. I want you to go to a place called Straight Street, and I want you to go to this particular house, the house of Judas, not the one that betrayed Jesus, another one. So the house number, if you please, Judas's house, the street name, if you please, Straight Street, and you're going to pray for him to be healed, because the prophetic partners with divine healing, and you're going to pray for him because he's going to be baptized in the Holy Spirit, because the prophetic partners with people coming into a greater encounter with God. And thirdly, you're going to pray for him that, and you're going to prophesy destiny over him. I'm going to make him an apostle unto the Gentiles, and I'm going to show him the many things that he must suffer for my name's sake. That's all. And remember, Ananias said, not so, Lord. I don't know about all this business. I've heard about what this man has done to your saints at Jerusalem. God said, nevertheless, arise. And so Ananias goes to Straight Street because God gave him the street name. Goes to the house because God gave him the house name, Judas's house. And he goes in and knows for the man he's looking for because God gave him the name of the man he's praying for. That's New Testament prophetic ministry. God gave him the name of the person he's praying for. Brother Saul. Ha! I love that. He called him brother before he was baptized in the Holy Spirit. Brother Saul. He wasn't Brother Paul. He was Brother Saul. God declares those things which are not as though they already were. Brother Saul. He lays hands on him. The blindness falls off of his eyes. Literally, two people that don't know each other by a vision. They were both in different locations, and the Lord speaks to them both in each of their locations. Ananias is told about Paul and where Paul is, the street name that he's on, the house number that he's at, the name of the house, whose house it is, what he's supposed to pray for, who he's supposed to pray for by name, and he's told Saul or Paul when he got to Damascus that a man named Ananias is coming. So God appears to two people simultaneously at the same time. Talk about a divine appointment. Okay, January 6th, the truth is about to come out about January 6th. I want you to hear me. I need you to hear this right now. In the United States, this whole narrative that we believed about Russian collusion, it's about to be exposed. There's about to be a real exposure of the lies that people have believed about Donald J. Trump, as imperfect as he is, as imperfect as I am and as you are. There's none good, no, not one. I'm sorry, there is none good. Therefore, you can't boast. Neither can you judge, because there's none good, no, not one, save one, Jesus Christ, the God-man, God manifest in the flesh, the Son of God, who came and lived a perfect, sinless life and died as a sinner, even though he never sinned, to take our place. God uses imperfect people. There's about to be evidence come out. January 6th was a clandestine operation involving the FBI, the CIA, and foreign actors. Iran and China were involved as well, and that they tried to set it up as if this January the 6th was a Trump coordinated insurrection, and there's about to be evidence come forward, and it's going to hit the news, and everybody's going to be forced to see it, that whole thing, it was a setup, but it wasn't Trump that tried to set up the insurrection. It was the other side, and certain actors and clandestine people that were placed in the crowd, and agitators and people that tried to get people to come up to the Capitol. Boy, I sure hope I'm not dinged and taken down off of social media. If you can't find me this Sunday, we'll create a new YouTube channel. But I'm about to tell you the Russian collusion story and all of the fabrications around it. It's about to be exposed, and you're going to hear about it on the news, the evidence that it was a lie. The January 6th investigation committees and all of this stuff, you're about to hear that all of that, the narrative that we were told, was a lie. Okay? You're going to hear about how Hillary Clinton, particularly her, how that she literally worked with intelligence agencies and President Obama to deliberately try to take Donald Trump down, to stop the Trump campaign in 2016. Now, yeah, I get it. It's 9 years later, but you're about to hear about it on the news in the next few weeks, months. And the evidence is going to be presented to the public, and it's not going to be, well, it could be read that way. No, it's going to be clear. Somebody comment clear. Crystal clear. Somebody on YouTube, please, everybody that can, comment crystal clear. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button yet, please do it. That's the least you can do. Hit the thumbs up button. Share this video. Send it out right now. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the thumbs up button. Share it on your Facebook page. Okay? So there's going to be proof provided. Somebody comment proof. I'm not talking about evidence. I'm talking about proof. Okay? And this is what the Lord said to me today. He's about to flip the script. Okay? He's about to flip the script. And some of these rogue judges, the tyranny of the judicial branch, there's about to be something done. I hope it's the Supreme Court that smacks down these lower courts that are getting emboldened and even speaking out against the Supreme Court. Okay? It feels like we are entering into, I know it's November, we're coming in Thanksgiving time, Christmas time, New Year's, and the early part of the year, but between now and Passover and Pentecost, listen to me, we're going to see a lot of things that were hidden from us as a society, as a nation, as a people. The proof is going to be undeniable, and minds are going to be changed, and people are going to be wakened up. Wake up! Awaken, O sleeper. There's going to be a lot of revelations come out in the press, okay? There's going to be some revelations come out in the press of proof that the 2020 election was truly, actually rigged. And it's not going to be just, when Trump says it, we all just say, oh, okay, we feel uncomfortable about it. No, they're going to show proof that in coordination with intelligence agencies and in coordination with politicians and in coordination with external foreign adversaries, there were people. Releasing COVID was one of the avenues to not only grow government and try to make America become a big government nation, but also it was one of the many ways that they were going to get Trump defeated in the 2020 election. You say you should leave politics out of the prophetic. Tell John the Baptist that, who told King Herod, or Isaiah, who told King Hezekiah, get your house in order, you're about to die. Tell Elijah that, who spoke to King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. Tell Paul that, who spoke to Felix and Festus, and ultimately I appeal to Caesar. Tell Jesus that, who spoke to Pontius Pilate and Herod, king of the Jews. The prophetic cannot stop speaking to the political spectrum. No, we cannot be a society that's based on lies. There is going to be revelations. They're going to be coming out about the pandemic, the plandemic, all along, and the whole world is going to see proof. Somebody once again comment proof of the pandemic. Comment proof of the pandemic. Somebody comment proof of the J6 false narrative. Proof of the J6 false narrative. Comment that on Facebook, on YouTube. Somebody comment proof of the 2016 election and that Hillary worked with intelligence agencies and foreign actors and foreign money. Listen to me. I prophesied this in, I believe it was the end of 2022. But the Lord brought it to me, and He told me clearly today, we're about to enter into 2026, and I believe Xi Jinping, the ruler of the Communist Party of China, is about to die. He is sick. He already has comorbidities, and I don't wish hurt or harm to anybody, but I believe that he has some form of cancer. I believe it's prostate cancer, but they're treating it. It's slow forming, but the treating it's not working, and now it's metastasizing, and it's going to metastasize into his hips, into his liver, and into his kidneys. I got permission from the Lord to share this. Now, I don't know how much you'll ever hear about this, because they're already fighting, but after Xi Jinping is taken out of the picture, you'll know it's the beginning of the fall of the Communist Party of China. They'll come in one temporary ruler who's even more cruel than Xi Jinping, but it won't last long. The spirit of death is also, I know that Vladimir Putin looks healthy. It's because he works out. I mean, he does do a pretty strong workout ethic, but he has comorbidities also. Wouldn't it be something, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but wouldn't it be something in 2026 if the two most powerful known dictators in the world today, Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, both were taken out of power in 2026? Wouldn't that be something? The things that God can fix in 2026. Somebody comment that on Facebook. Somebody comment that on YouTube right now. The things that God can fix in 2026. The things that God can fix in 2026. So pray that God will take Xi Jinping out of power in China, so that the underground church can have above ground results. Pray that Vlad, and I've been prophesying this for 2 or 3 years. You all know it. And some people are like, well, it hasn't happened yet, so it was a false prophecy. How many of the prophecies in the Bible did they prophesy and it come to pass the next day or the next month? Many of them were hundreds of years, but I'm telling you, we are close to the end of Xi Jinping's rule over the CCP, as the Prime Minister, President of China, whatever he is. Xi Jinping's rule is soon going to come to an end. And Vladimir Putin's rule over Russia is soon going to come to the end. It seems as if they are invincible, and it seems as if while Xi has got his eye on Taiwan, and he says he won't invade as long as Trump is president. And it seems that while Putin has got his eye on Ukraine, and he is, remember what I prophesied about Estonia and Poland back in October, that Estonia would become a stone in the hand, like in the hand of David. I think Putin is going to fool around in the airspace of these NATO nations like Poland and Estonia, and Russia or their counterparts or their cohorts are going to invade the airspace of these nations, and one of these nations is going to strike back. Watch and see, knocking down a fighter jet from Russia. This is what is about to happen. Folks, we are entering into a time in the $50 bill dream. I don't know if many of you remember that. I shared that. I said one of the things in the $50 bill dream, that when people did not get their government or their welfare checks, that they would begin to riot and would become restless, and there would be violence in the streets. I hope and pray that that is not a fulfillment with this government shutdown. That is my prayer. That is my prayer. That is my prayer. I said I think 2026 will be the year where a lot of leaders are taken out of the way. The old guard in the church and in the world. Okay? I shared last night, it was cold in this vision that I had, dream rather, and I've been increasing, since I went back to Indiana and visited on my mother's grave for the first time after she died. Something lifted off of me, and I'm hearing clear. Even our church services, this past Sunday was our biggest attendance yet on a Sunday. Something has happened in my spirit. I feel like that heaviness lifted off of me after I saw Mom. Got to come back and visit her. I know she's not there, her body is there, but you understand what I'm saying. The day she died, we had to leave Indiana and come back to South Carolina because it was back in May of this year, 2025, because in a day and a half later we were having our first service in our new building in Lancaster. That building right there at 1180 Garnett Road. And I got to, have some time to pray and weep, and my sister even talked about she hadn't seen me cry like that. Anyways, the point that I'm making is I felt something lifted off of me, and I'm hearing God clearer than I've ever heard Him. I'm telling you, I am hearing God clearer than I've ever heard Him. If you want to hear God, somebody on Facebook and YouTube, put in the comment section, Lord, open my ears. He will hear that. He will see that prayer request. Lord, open my ears. As I said, as the dollar diminishes, there will be an advancement to push toward a one world currency. And don't even think necessarily in the context of the book of Revelation. The dollar is going to be weakening. That's the reason why the U.S. banks are buying up all the gold that they can. Okay, they're buying up all the gold that they can. They never should have took the dollar based off of gold. They never should have took our currency off the gold standard. I pray. I'll be honest with you. I pray. And this is something prophetically. I'm calling the watchman. You need to pray. I believe, this is just me, this is my opinion, we need to pray they break the filibuster. You say, yeah, but the Democrats, when they get in power, they can use it. Well, so what? We don't have much time left anyway. If they break the filibuster, not only can we fund the government, we can also cut fraud, waste, and abuse. We can also get day of voting, not month-long elections anymore, where you have to go in, voter ID required all across the United States. We can finish building the wall, because all they need is 50 votes. So I am praying that they break the filibuster. because the dollar is beginning to fade. I saw it begin to be pulled away in the distance. It's not going away. It's not being destroyed. It's not going down, so don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying the dollar is done. It is the strongest currency, but it's not as strong as it was, and it's not, I don't believe, going to get back to the strength that it once was. Yes, the stock market keeps rising. Yes, I get all of that, but I'm really concerned if a couple of decisions go the wrong way, we are going to hit a major recession that could look like 2008. I'm saying this right now on November the 6th, 2025. If a couple of decisions in the near future are made and it goes in the wrong way, we will have a significant recession. And I don't want that to happen. I'm praying the Supreme Court does not rule that Trump doesn't have power to have tariffs over other nations, because those nations do it to us. They've put unfair trade tariffs and balances on us for years. So I said Xi Jinping being removed from power. And in this vision, I started to share it, and I saw, let me see if I have this one or not. Here it is right here. This is one of the ones I actually wrote down. You see the date there, November 5th, 2026. Pray for England. Before 2025 ends, there will be a sharp economic decline and social unrest will increase in England. By the way, a lot of it's because their borders have been overridden by Muslims. 26 will come, and I saw in cold weather, it was cold weather, the death of King Charles. And I can't say for sure it's 2026, but it sure seemed like it. It sure seemed like it. I'm not a date setter, so I'm not saying it was 2026, but it seemed like it was wintertime or cold weather. And King Charles died, and King William will lean into Christianity and begin to put and demand reforms on his nation to push back on Islamic immigration. I hope that you just seen that right there. November 5, 2025. Pray for England. Before 2025 ends, there will be a sharp economic decline and social unrest will increase in England. A lot because their streets are overridden by Muslims and people who are there illegally. I'm not against immigration. I'm against illegal immigration. 26 will come. And I saw in cold weather, I knew it was cold, the death of King Charles. And I don't rejoice at that. Not at all. I greatly, deeply respect the royal family. I always have, because the majority of my lineage comes from there and Germany. King William will lean into Christianity, push back on Islamic immigration. I hope that you see the significance of what I'm sharing right now. This is significant stuff. Listen, the death of Charlie Kirk, I shared this prophecy this Sunday before the funeral started in our service at Friends of the Bridegroom Church in Lancaster, South Carolina. We're just 40 minutes from Charlotte, straight down Highway 521. 1180 Garnett Road, that's our logo. But I stood up, I prophesied, the billion soul harvest has begun. That was the first event. There'll be another event that will happen. And I believe it's going to happen next year. And it's going to cause the whole world to to have scales come off their eyes, or at least should I say the vast majority of the population, and we're going to see the real true third great awakening, and the secular world is going to realize there is a God and there is a spiritual realm and there are angels. Look up in the sky. The skies are going to speak to us. The sky is going to reflect the works of God. You're going to see things in the sky. And a lot of people, if they don't have any understanding, they just label anything they don't understand as demonic. The devil has a counterfeit to everything that's real. Tongues. Demons are like angels. They're fallen. I mean, think about it. But angels are going to be seen in the sky. There's going to be angelic war in the sky and angels watching over mankind, and there are going to be people that are going to call it aliens or green men from another planet. And it's not. It is not green or grays from another planet. It's spiritual beings, some of which are angels, and some of which are heavenly creatures, like the book of Ezekiel. Like the book of Ezekiel. Basically, the book of Ezekiel is Ezekiel was caught up in an aircraft, taken over Babylon, modern day Iraq, given a message, and brought back down to earth. So there's going to be another event happen. Just like the Charlie Kirk death was a major event that was a marker in time, the Billion Soul Harvest has begun. There's going to be another bookend event that's going to once and for all settle. The third great awakening has actually fully begun. And I don't know what that event's going to be, but it's going to be something that catches the entire world's attention next year from the heavens. And some will cry, and they'll try to deceive and say it's demons, and some will say it's aliens. And I'm telling you, yes, there are UFOs that are demonic, absolutely. But just like if there's a fake, there's a real. If there's a counterfeit, there's a real. Some of them are angels. Even to the 7 stars in his right hand. Well, the 7 stars were 7 angels. The sons of the morning star, sang for glory. They were angels. The sons of the morning. The 7 stars were messengers or angels in his right hand. But the heavens are going to declare the handiwork of God and the third great awakening. Listen to me on this what is it? This sixth day of November 2025. The heavens are going to declare the handiwork of God. And they are going to, there's going to be a bookend event, and there's going to be a lot of false flags and a lot of false information given out there. Okay? Yes, the devil can get into the devil can, use things that seem like God. But I'm going to tell you something. Some of it is from the divine. Some of it's from God. And some of you can't see it. Not you, not you listeners, but some people that you may go to church with can't see it because of a religious construct. A religious spirit can't allow them to see what they need to see. The world by and large will awaken to spiritual realities. (25-26) A geographical cataclysmic event where land and water meet, will shake and boil and boil and boil over. I see a volcano bursting forth and it literally changing geography. It literally changing geography. Wow. Guys, this is we're in some serious times right now. This is a major prophetic update. If you're watching right now and you haven't hit the thumbs up button, why, you can surely do that. It's a small gesture. I prayed all day about this and weighed and wrestled. Hit the thumbs up button on YouTube or on Facebook. Okay? And if you're anywhere near Charlotte, North Carolina, I would love to see you this Sunday at Friends of the Bridegroom Church. We just had our largest crowd yet this past Sunday. It was absolutely beautiful. Right here, there's me standing in the back taking a picture. We got that building 5.5 months ago, 1180 Garnett Road. Some people drive an hour to work 5 days a week. What is an hour drive? What's a 2-hour drive? We have a family that drives 6 hours one way every weekend. Sunday, pre-service prayer at 9:45, worship at 10:30. That was this past Sunday. Just a normal Sunday. It's preaching on divine healing. We had a woman whose hands, her arthritis, she couldn't open and close her hands, and her hand was healed where she could open and close it. Guys, I want you to listen to me. This is for real. I called out by revelation. I said, there's someone sitting in the crowd here today, and you're here today, and you had a dream. And in this dream, there's no way you've not told me, you've not told anybody, and in this dream, you were sitting where you're sitting in the church, this church, you're hearing me minister and speak, and I said something to you. Something was said. And this lady raised her hands and she said, it was me. It happened 2 nights ago. I said, do you remember what I said to you in the dream? She said, yeah. She said, you said to me, where do you normally sit? That's what I said to her in the dream 2 nights prior to Sunday. And I knew that I laughed and I said, well, 2 nights ago in a dream, I asked you in this very setting, just like this. You're sitting where you were sitting. I'm standing where I was standing. I'm preaching, ministering in this church. And I asked you a question. Where are you sitting? And you just told me that's what I asked you 2 nights ago in the dream. I got the answer. The Holy Spirit was searching for you 2 nights ago. And I prayed healing over her, over specific things that had happened, that had triggered. I believe it was migraine headaches or neck or back pain. I can't remember what I said in the moment, but from specific things that God healed from the past. A woman the Sunday before, she had 10 screws in her one foot and 3 fractures in the other. She couldn't hardly walk. We prayed for her and she said she felt the screws. This is on video, folks. If you don't believe me, ask her Sunday. These people visited a week ago this past Sunday for the first time, and by revelation the Lord showed me her husband had a heart condition, a liver condition, a kidney condition, and a back condition. And she was weeping and she's like, yes, he just 3 days ago went to the doctor, and the doctor said those very organs that you just mentioned, the kidney, the liver, the heart, the back. And then I prayed for her, and her foot began to pop that had the 10 screws in the middle in it, began to pop. And the pain left. And then the other foot that had the 3 fractures. We prayed the second time in the name of Jesus Christ. And it's no showboating, it's no flash. She just prayed in Jesus, and she said, it left. And I told her, I said, the devil's going to try to come to you and he's going to try to tell you you're not healed. She said, I'm healed, I'm pain-free. And sure enough, the devil that week tried to come. And she said, and every time the devil came and said that to me, I spoke the word against him. It's written, by his stripes ye were already past tense healed. And she said, and he left me alone, and I was healed again. You got to contend for your healing. You got to contend for the prophetic words that are spoken over your life. You got to contend for the promises that God has given to you. Don't stay stuck in a habitual pattern and a repeat cycle of the same old, same old. This is a season for realignment, for refinement, for reassignment. A season of realignment for reassignment. Don't stay stuck continuing to do the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. People will tell you to keep doing it. It's a religious spirit that's influencing them. So, listen, I would love, absolutely love, to have you join us this Sunday at 1180 Garnett Road, Lancaster, South Carolina. There is the aerial view, 6.10 acres, 9,500 square foot building, and 13 classrooms / offices, a playground in the back there. This past Sunday was our biggest Sunday crowd yet. It doesn't do it justice from that view. But thank you for joining me tonight. Share this. If you haven't yet, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up button right now. I'm going to be very soon sharing more things for 2026. Not for the sake of, well, all the prophets have got to share their prophetic words for 2026. No. We are shown these things so we know what to pray against, what to pray for God to do. God shows us the blueprint. As prophetic people who know and hear His voice, we should know the headlines before they're headlines, because He dwells in the eternal realm where we're based in time. But we've got an eternal kingdom dwelling internally, an eternal kingdom dwelling internally inside of us. And I'm going to be praying for the sick again this Sunday. If you didn't catch from 2 Wednesdays ago the interview I had with the couple where I was preaching in Indiana, I gave the message in tongues and I was speaking Russian. And I said, the Holy Spirit, as the Spirit gave the utterance, said to you, I see you in your dreams. I see you in your dreams, and I spoke to you in that dream, and your dream is confirmed. They came to that service because of a dream from 2 nights prior to that. They had asked the Lord before they went to bed. We saw Chris Reed's going to be advertised to be speaking here in Peru, Indiana. Should we go? They prayed about it. They had this dream that they came here to Lancaster, South Carolina, and I went there and brought butter and honey to their house. And they felt like, well, that's a sign we should go. Her former Muslim sister was baptized in the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues. God is great. I interviewed them, great people. And it's not just me He's using, whosoever will. We got prophetic teams for visitors. If you come Sunday and you're a visitor, we have prophetic ministry for all first-time visitors. And I'm going to be preaching on, unless the Lord changes my mind, on Divine Healing Part 2. And we're going to be praying for the sick and see a continuation of these miracles. Please, if you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up button on Facebook and on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button on the YouTube video. Subscribe to our channel, if you will. So hit subscribe and click the notification bell. Our email just went out tonight. If you're not on our email list, go to fotbchurch.com. fotbchurch.com. It's right there. Scroll down. You see where it says enter email. Enter your email. Click yes, I want to know more. We won't share your email. We won't bombard you with usually 1 email a week, where we're telling you about events that are coming up or what God is speaking prophetically. And make sure you get on our email list. We would love to have you. And Share the video if you haven't yet, and please hit the thumbs up button whether you're watching live or the replay. God bless you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time to listen to me, and I pray that God blesses you and that you have a great evening. All right, good night.